The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom. The Leo King will be live shortly. Please hold on while the collective consciousness loads, and thank you for being a part of the Leo Kingdom.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is David Palmer, the Leo King, here on HighVibe.tv for Deep Love Tarot, your weekly Love Tarot horoscope for the week of August 12th through the 18th of 2019. If you've never watched this show before, this is where we go deep into the tarot, and we have Craig, which is from HighVibe.tv, who joins us live on the show. How you doing today, Craigie?
What's going on, Mr. Palmer? How's everyone doing out there? It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, I'd say.
It is a beautiful day, I would say. And to keep shows like this on the air, of course, check out HighVibe.tv and my new video. If you want to talk about love and go really deep from an astrological perspective, since I am an astrologer and tarot reader, but astrology definitely is my mainstream forte, I created a special video about this whole Venus, Sun, Mars, Juno cycle that we're going to see here from now until September 18th. And I really am having people see that these next 6 weeks are so important in your life about seeding such beautiful energy, huge, beautiful relationship aspects that's connected with manifesting and money and so forth and projects. Definitely check it out. It's only $10 at highvibe.tv. This is where we go through the astrology, of course, but I do it through picking out your sun sign in a solo cup. We are always putting out the warning there that this is not your typical tarot show. We like to have fun. We like to get a little crazy sometimes on this show, and we look at a bunch of different decks. So we always start with the collective reading first, and the number one important thing is we are always live in the chat, and people can send questions for their sun sign, but you can't ask about your own planet or anything like that because it's unfair to the whole audience. So if you have a question about your sun sign in love, maybe it's specific about your sun sign, you can email us at deeplovetarot@gmail.com. We have some questions that we already got. So, but if you want to send some in right now before we get there, I'm about to do the collective reading. Send those questions now. While I'm shuffling these real quick, Craig and I were out. We went racing this weekend. We took the championship. And we had some fun. We went to a crazy bar club thing that was pretty wild and crazy, actually.
It was an eclectic mix of individuals.
We almost died, but it was cool.
It's always nice to get out on the town. We've never really been there in the Inland Empire. If everybody's familiar, Temecula, it is wine country. But yeah, they got a nice little lake out there called Elsinore, which Mr. Palmer, like he announced, did take first place for the season. So.
And I couldn't have done it without you, Craig.
I do get 1/3 of the credit since I am a holder.
And dude, Craig's right there with me through it all, and I just want to say thank you because it's a team effort thing, and I include you in that championship.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure.
You know what I mean?
I've already been seeing some people commenting on the butterfly that's behind me. It is beautiful. This is the next piece that Kim is going to be painting over in There's an Art to Life for free over on High Vibe. So make sure you check that out. It should be released end of the week, possibly Monday. So this is actually her inspiration that she painted over in the Philippines at her family's house. So we've got a rad little video about that too.
Yeah, and if you ever see any paintings that are ever on the walls and stuff, you know, these are kind of like an art gallery. If you're ever interested in them, you can reach out to us at production@highvibe.tv, or even just, you know, hit Kim up too on her Instagram for him as well. Well, I say we go into this collective reading. I got these cards all shuffled. What is coming up with the collective? And remember, we have these astro dice. These are my favorite part because these always add the astrology element to it. And remember, the chat is super important. People are saying it's beautiful, it's gorgeous. They're loving the picture of what Kim said, or that, especially that it's a very special story behind that painting and her going to the Philippines and stuff. So it's actually got a lot. Every painting's got its own special thing, you know, and that's what I think is beautiful about art.
Yeah, she's got a full time lapse that she did of her actually painting the original at her family's house over in the Philippines. So,
well, it's so funny. There's the trash truck in the backstage right now that you can hear doing its reversal, and I'm hoping that we don't have a trashy week for the collective. All right, first card that we got for this week for the collective in love is the safe travel card. Wow, so overall, this is us really moving into better, more. You know, with safe travel, I look at this as a comfortable place of feeling where when you feel comfortable, things go a lot easier in life. Things feel better. This is a great week where there's a lot of different directions though, and it's all good. But I think that there's something about this card that tells me in love and relationship, there is a lot of things that are turning in any direction. It's almost like reminds me of the Wheel of Fortune in tarot. So it's an interesting time where there's like all these different directions and kind of where's it going to go? And you know that it can go in a very positive place. If you're partnered, you know, this is definitely, are you willing to take some new different places and where you're taking your relationship? And that feel better, you know, if you're single, like this is definitely looking at, you know, all directions, all roads and going, yeah, where could this go? There's a lot of, you know, kind of perspective aspect to, you know, where is this going right now? But it's not negative. I mean, maybe you're going through a negative situation and you're trying to find the positive though, you know, it's not like, gosh, I'm looking at it. Or sometimes safe travel could be like, I just need a safe travel out of this whole thing. So I want to add that point, but I definitely feel a much more positive vibe coming to this. The challenge card that we got is the Jupiter abundance card. Now, this is where you need to see the abundance in what you have. You need to see the bigger picture in what you have in relationships or in love this week. That you are abundant with what you have. But when this is a challenge, it's a perception thing. Again, I don't know why I was picking up perception, and bam, we got the Jupiter card here in this Astro Black Moon deck. Now, one thing I've learned about Jupiter as being an astrologer for as long as I've been is Jupiter is not just like good luck, fortune right away. Like it teaches you. And so I think the challenge is like learning to explore more, learning to see things out a little longer, learning to learn, right? I think that it's like maybe if we have an expectation, that's going to cause you to go, well, let me look at it from a different way. Let me see the abundance that's around this instead of cutting it down to slivers, you know, or expecting too much abundance, you know, without being realistic of like, yeah, people are people. They're going to have this, they're going to, there's no such thing as perfection. I think that's going to be one of the things that come up really intensely this week. Our overall card that we got that's moving in is the luxury card. This is a card, it's got a swan on it. It's all about finding the best energy and seeing that, you know, luxury, of course, we think of as nice or of quality. You know, quality comes from when we're in an emotional place where we understand the abundance is there. We understand and don't expect certain things to be maybe too much or too little, but we find that right line. We know right away. Another thing about this is maybe with Jupiter, the other part of Jupiter is knowing. So with this challenge and having the luxuries, maybe if you have a problem about knowing the energy of what feels right to make you feel the most amazing in a relationship, that's going to be the challenge, is that you are debating or questioning too much in your knowing. And if you have debating and questioning and knowing, that's how you know it's not good. So there's going to be a big week that brings up, for all people in relationships, whether you're partnered or single, hey, do I really know that this is taking me to the best place? The quality of what I like in a relationship, the feeling, or do I not know? Maybe that's not where I want to connect every dot. I always throw an overall. We got the death card. So this is definitely us changing the way all relationships feel. This is us getting to the root of issues and making a great major change. Now, this card scares people who don't usually follow tarot, but this card is always leading towards the light. There is actually a sun behind this card. Even though it's the carnage, it is the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new one. So this is like a big week where you're going to go through a transformational experience. Whenever I see the death card, I love it. It brings up a new experience. It also could regurgitate a relationship. Maybe if you were dating someone and it didn't work out, it could bring it back and change it from a new perspective. Maybe if you're in a relationship and it's not been going well, maybe you can find the change, or maybe it will come to an end. So there's going to be endings and new beginnings at very intense aspects. And it's right on Jupiter that the understanding is to not be afraid of expecting it to just be bountiful without knowing that there's always a possibility of it not. Everything does have its cycles and does come to a close. Our astro dice are saying for this week in the collective, we got Cancer in the 4th house, Sun. Oh my gosh, that is like major Cancer energy. When you get Cancer, 4th house, that's the original home for Cancer is the 4th house, and the Sun there, we need to feel like it's home. If it doesn't feel like it's home, that's where we're going to have that knowing. If it doesn't, if it feels foreign, if it doesn't feel right, and I know that might sound very simple and cliche for all relationships, but this is where it's the knowing and the feeling that feels like home, of the ultimate luxury and the safety of feeling like this can go in any direction of beauty. And being open. I think that the challenge is if you're not open to things, or you're trying to be like, well, this won't work because of this or because of that, or it's like, yeah, you have some sort of emotional or maybe control issues too. Letting go of that and being wide open this week to understand how is the doorways to find that, and being explorative to where those doorways go in any aspect. You have to be willing to be open to those to get to the ultimate of what you want to have.
I'd say that resonates with me.
So do I.
Yeah, I mean, last week was intense. But this week, I don't know, coming into today, it's like you almost washed away. Last week did bring up a lot of dirt from the past, a lot of emotions and everything, but
feels very cleaned out. But I feel like
it does.
With that death card, it's kind of like the last straw. Like anything that is of that last straw, it just gets like cut out. You know? Like, I don't know, we were racing, so you have gas cans, right? So it's like, sure, they might be empty, but it's kind of like the death card to me is like, okay, the gas cans are out of the truck and they're back in their storage position. Like it's already done, but there's that last little psst. Or it's like, we're going to keep them in and refill them, you know? Like there's something about life that comes to a breaking point of transformation always. And I think we're all at that point right now. So it's pretty intense, but I think it's good. I'm excited for it. It feels necessary.
Hell yeah. Let's keep it moving forward.
So we always like to pick here out of the solo or red cup. I don't even know if these are solo. They're not. These are some cheap brand. We got Virgo as the first one today. Virgos, are you ready for your reading? Virgos in the house. And Craig got me a gift today for Deep Love Tarot. You can't see it, but he got me a knight. He was like, you know, this is better than the trophy I get in winning the whole season championship for the West Coast of Jet Skiing. Thank you, brother.
You are quite welcome. I saw it and I just knew that I had to get it.
Honestly, if people ever want to send me gifts, I love knights. There's fucking knights behind me. You know what I mean? Like, fucking, I love knights. I don't know what it is. So, we got Virgos up.
Virgo. Here we go.
Here we go. I'm ready to see what Virgo's got. Virgo's got jealousy as the first card. Woo! You know, this is like where, I know that this could be read sometimes the wrong way, but this is kind of where it's like at a focal point. It always looks like a really intense eye, or it looks like a big hologram of like a singular tube going into one space. It could even be like a black hole energy. Like this is where you're getting sucked into your energy that is pulling you kind of negatively. So I will say that this is going to be a week that's going to bring up some of the maybe where you're focused in too many positions, or just, you know, I don't know why my guides are showing it, but like you might be in a relationship where you get jealous over your partner this weekend, over who they're talking to or what they're doing. And that might, you know, not be good, or maybe it might bring up something that needs to be drawn in the sand with boundaries. One thing about jealousy is sometimes maybe it actually is bringing up a boundary that's been crossed that hasn't been set by you enough. So I think Virgos are gonna have to set some boundaries. So we're throwing the relationship issues. Changing that one from trouble to issues.
Yeah, some minor disagreements.
Jealousy, it might not be so minor. Maybe medium
Just a little bit.
Maybe medium.
Just a little bit.
I'm feeling medium well. You know what I mean? Like, it's not charbroiled. let's see what that challenge is that's bringing it up, which is the Sun card. Yeah, and this is the number one card in this astro deck, and the Sun deals with your own soul. Sun is in the 12th house for Virgos right now, so I think that this is going to be a time of, you know what, maybe one, it's like, why aren't you allowing yourself to have what you want? Maybe you're jealous of other people of having what they want, but you're too afraid to have what you want. That's the challenge. Why don't you actually put the Sun, your soul, your spirit, into what you want? I think that this isn't about what you feel like, and maybe there is a lot of boundaries to this. Maybe you have too many walls up. Maybe there's like a lot of walls. And maybe it's like you're not allowing what you really want in. Or maybe you don't know how to set the boundaries if you're in a relationship and it's not going the way you want to, where you're like, hey, I'm not cool with this. You have to, with this Sun card and this jealousy, I think that it's like, this is a challenge position. Get the way that you want it to be. Don't be afraid to experience what you want, because it'll just create this feeling of an emptiness. I look at jealousy as emptiness. And I think that this card feels very empty to me too. The way to get through all this is abundance. There's abundance waiting for you when you set the boundaries or take the doors down and let something in and experience and have what you want to feel. So Virgo, this week, you are, whether you're in a relationship, you're gonna have to set some boundaries, or maybe you're pushing something away. But I'd say maybe with single Virgos, there's this aspect I think of, there's so much abundance waiting for you, and especially this has the Eye of Horus on it. This is an Egyptian card. There is amazing aspects all over this card. Osiris, like there is so much that is waiting for you in all aspects of connecting with your divine, like truth of true abundance in the whole universe and working for you. I think that there's just a bit of issues if you're not allowing yourself to have the abundance at all. Overall, you got the Knight of Cups. It's okay to move at your own pace, but move. Like it's like this is a reminder that like it's not like you need to like go into crazy waters and like rush into something if you've been holding yourself back. Like Knight of Cups, trot your own pace, and once you feel comfortable, then you can go as fast as you want. Like, but there's that moment of like, comfort, right? Like when you start driving a car, you just don't get in it for the first time. You get a driver's license and go, wah, wah, wah. Some people do, maybe, that need some medication to keep them alive. Like, they may be a little crazy, but most of us in the world, we get in, we kind of get comfortable with it. And then, after a while, it's just bam. It's like, what do you call it? Like when your subconscious is driving. I think that this Knight of Cups is beautiful to show you trot into uncomfortable waters. You're safe, you're guarded, but move into them and you'll actually find more comfort there, especially with this emptiness you might be feeling that you're not experiencing and the abundance that is waiting for you if you actually set those boundaries or undo those boundaries to experience something that you're not experiencing. You're, already on the first one.
That did not take long, ladies and gentlemen. Who had the bet on the first one?
Wow, Virgo moon in the 8th. Oh yeah, so this is definitely you needing to emotionally start to realize that the way that your life has been needs to find some sort of emotional change and trust. I think that trust is a big situation, whether it's you not allowing or receiving anything in, or you're not trusting because, you are in a place where maybe you've got some really weird reality or something specific that you might be jealous about or weird. So there's a lot of ways this is working out for Virgos this week, but I think a lot of it, from my perspective, and when I look at this jealousy card, it just feels empty. It just feels empty to me. And this is about filling your cup up and needing your filling of your truth. The 8th house is the house of hunger, the house of needing something back towards you. So there's needing to receive, there's needing to feel the reality and the juices of the plum that fall down your lips.
No, it reminds me of the saying, though, it doesn't matter at what pace you're moving, you're still moving faster than the person on the couch. So it is literally just like getting up and going to get it. Take, for example, your lymphatic system. You literally have to get up and move around to get that thing pumping. Your blood has your heart to pump it, but the lymphatic system that actually takes it and drains it into your blood, that needs you moving around. So just get out there and do something.
Yeah, even with the lymphatic system too, like I take a shower and then I take 2 minutes of cold every time because it wakes me up and it moves the lymphatic, it moves your nerves, it moves everything, and it actually, that's what they say to move your lymphatic system. Besides, the number one way is what Craig said, moving, because that moves the blood. But there's something also about clearing your lymphatic system through taking a cold shower, even though to most people are like, that's crazy. But believe it or not, there's something that actually kicks it into gear. And this is about kicking things into gear because there's maybe been something stagnant, or, there's something empty that needs to be filled with all that stuff. All right, our next cards, and I don't know if there was any Virgos that said anything. Yeah, the plum juice. We got Libra next. Wow, we're kind of going in a weird flow here. Libras. What do the Libras have going on here? All right. First card for Libra is the Divine Feminine card. So I think that this is going to be an interesting week for Librans because, one, this is about truly being okay with one. Divine Feminine energy is this goddess energy. It's always been castrated for feeling or castrated for what it is. But this is about lining with really high positive feelings. And I think that there is something about this card because it is two moons with a sun in between, right? So it's like the feminine is actually split in half, but it's like supporting the masculine. That you have to support the things that you want through self-care better right now and expressing your emotions more. There's a lot of emotional issues that are going to cause you to maybe feel more feminine this week than usual, but maybe it's because you're not receiving the emotions you want, you're not expressing the emotions you want. Like, this is where the feminine rises, by expressing its feelings and emotions. And don't feel castrated by expressing them. Step into them fully. Like, show people what your feelings are. I think that there's a lot of feelings that have been blocked that are needing to be released, or you're still attaching your feminine emotional energy to maybe something that is not divine. So it's time to move it into something divine. Like, get off that relationship or get off that love that's not going in the right direction, Libra. Like, move it towards a direction that makes more sense to you. Your challenge card you got is the Sagittarius I see. So again, it's not like seeing the wide enough picture. And I think that for you, it's a belief system that you're not supported, or a belief system that the emotions are not reciprocated, or a belief system of not really seeing the full picture, of seeing exactly what is really going on that is creating your emotions to kind of feel not in the right energy and not divinely in aligned. So this week, Libra, a lot of emotions need to come up and need to be expressed, need to be spoke about, need to be the truth about, and also need to be positively seen in the right direction. But that's a challenge. It's almost like you're having some challenging feelings coming up about love. And I think that you have to go through them to get through the other side. So definitely, and if you're single, that could come up. Maybe you're lonely, and maybe you need to see that you're not lonely, that you're supported by God, you're supported by your friends, you're supported by everything. And when you step out of that weird lonely feeling, or even if you're in a relationship, maybe you feel lonely or you don't feel connected with. Once you step out of that energy, then the universe can open things up for you, but you got to be willing to do that. And you got integrity. I think that the integrity is to express how you feel and see where that goes to get integrity. It's not integrity to kind of put yourself into a lower emotional space or hold on to old things. Of course, grief, if you're going through grief in your life, is a normal thing, but it's like there's an integrity aspect coming this week of putting yourself into integrity, of making sure that you feel supported in yourself, and then you can feel supported outside before going outside supported and going inside. And seeing the positivity in that is going to allow you to find your integrity. Integrity builds growth to go towards something more beautiful in life. So I think that, it's not the worst week for Libras. I think there is a little bit of relationship issues here just because we are dealing with some weird divine feminine, and Sag is a challenge. And this is your third house of thinking straight. So, I think it's the ideas that are coming in your head of your perception of your emotions that are confused really intensely. And the overall is, the Seven of Pentacles upright. So it's like, why waste your time on anything unless you're ready to put in the work and you're going to feel satisfied? If you do all the work and you look at this and you're not satisfied, it's going to be a waste of energy. So you need to get very clear on where your emotions sit, because it's not of integrity to put your emotions into something that you already know you don't feel supported in. And if you've already expressed it and it's not being reciprocated, then you're just raking a bunch of leaves that are about to get blown away and won't fit in the trash bag. And then next thing you know, you're just like, ah! So Your astro dice for this week is you got Cancer as well, you got Neptune, and you've got it in the 8th house. Wow, so a lot of 8th house Cancer stuff coming up. This is an interesting spot because this is about channeling your feelings in a place of change, and also realizing that this is a time for you to really sink into what is it that you're not receiving that you might be blocking from your own spiritual delusional spaces emotionally. So, or maybe that you're obsessed with some sort of emotion that's taking you off the wrong course, and what that's doing is pulling on emotions that aren't able to be reciprocated in the wrong direction, and why you're feeling the way that you are. So there's a lot about being observant of your feelings and where you're putting it and putting them into places of integrity. That will help you understand where you're going to go, and that will bring you into a much better alignment in relationships this week. Because I think that Libras are a little scattered right now about where emotions are going, or they might be putting it in areas they're trying to get and they're not getting it fully. And that's causing them to not feel maybe happy, or that they have some sort of mindset that's not really seeing a better picture. And that's because the emotions don't feel supported. And that's not external, it's internal, because of where you are delusioning or putting in kind of an edgy space, this seeking of an emotional place, when really it's not seeking it externally, it is internally allowing yourself to receive. So there's some receiving issues. And if you're receiving something trying to receive something that doesn't want to be received, well, then move on from that. But if, there's energy that's trying to come into your life and you're not allowing it in, well, guess what? You're not supported. And that's why you're not supported. You're trying to seek it somewhere else. And maybe you need to look at what you're seeking and if it's actually positive and good for you.
It's always good to take a little step back too. It's easy to get stagnant and kind of caught up in relationships or people that you're dealing with and kind of lose your own self within it. So it's good to take a step back and find your passion again. If you like hiking, maybe go out on a solo hike, get your mind right, get that fresh air. If you like movies, go sit in movies. Can be anything, but really just got to get back into yourself.
Yeah, and the 8th house definitely deals with passion. It deals with the things that we desire. But it's like with Neptune, it could be like, is the thing you're desiring really bringing you emotional receptivity back? It's like sometimes we could put something of an edgy state in the 8th house, and it's not really delivering, and it's it's good to go passionate, but it's also is it also escaping, receiving feelings from things that actually are more quality and more home, that actually last longer? It's almost like seeking quick or instant gratification that's not of home. And I think that this is where it's this is a time for you to really because I think Libras are dealing with the most emotional aspect in all the zodiac signs with Saturn and Pluto in the South Node in Capricorn. So it's there's this restriction feeling, and you're trying to compensate that by edge and exploring all these other realms, or in some sort of accomplishment that you want to have, but it gets lonely. You just get a trophy and that's it, and it goes on the wall, and then you just remember the feeling, but it's not like I'm going to go fall in bed with this and sleep with it and
you
feel
could, though.
it, or
You might poke your eye out, but you could.
Yeah, it'd be a good nose picker.
We could pierce your ears live.
Pierce my ears too. Yeah. Interesting Libra reading there. All right, Leo. It's Leo season. Happy birthday, Leos. I'm a Leo. I love being Leo. And it's Leo's time. This is a big time for Leos, all this Leo. Sun, Venus, by the way, this week for everybody out there. Holy moly. This is intense. It's all about Leo. Full moon week. Leos have a full moon in the relationship sectors this week. So this is going to be an interesting reading. The Talisman. This is unlocking a lot of new places in your life. I think that this is definitely kind of you getting out of a lot of situations that you have felt maybe locked. You're finding the key to life this week in love. You're finding the keys to where you really want to go with relationships and love this week. So it's here's the key maker, but there's something about this kind of regal key that this is, and the Talisman holds. It's what is the key that's going to open up that doorway for you that feels like the ultimate place that your heart truly goes? You have to be willing to use the key to try to open the doors. I think that there's something about this card that is telling Leos, don't be afraid. If something is there and the key is there, go and look in the door, look in the lobby, do whatever you got to do, but go in there and seek it and see, because this is a time for Leos to really flourish out of a lot of places in where they might have felt locked away, or that they were locked into a place for too long. So there's a lot of freedom aspect coming. The challenge for Leos is the solar eclipse of revolution. It's like there's been some challenging energy of eclipses, of things changing and kind of destroying the past. But I think that this week is about embracing that this is bringing a revolution into your life. Instead of holding on to the past or holding on to what it is, this is a key to unlock the ultimate revolution, but it might be a challenge because it's going to bring back a gnarly new energy into your life. And to not be afraid of it. Solar eclipses, people used to die of fear from them, but what they do is they burn things out and bring new things in. So this is a lot of new intense energy for Leos. It's a lot of becoming the challenge of becoming aware. The awareness is of like, what is the key that's going to unlock it? This is going to be the challenge. It's almost like, oh my gosh, I have so many keys and so many doorways. You know, by understanding what's bringing your life forward, what's bringing your life in a much more positive way. Leos deal with solar eclipses better, and solar eclipses hit Leos the most because, of course, it's a solar eclipse and they're ruled by the sun. So this is definitely a very powerful week. Also, you know, so the revolution is kind of like, go have the fun. I mean, go have the revolution. Go have this unique divine alignment with this talisman. I think we got to throw a party card for the Leos.
My moon and my ascendant are liking this so far.
The last card I got is a rebirth. Look at this, rebirth by revolution. There's a rebirth thing here for Leo energy this week. Leo rising, Leo suns, Leo moons. This is definitely a major rebirth. This is like a shift that is going to blow your mind. Like, what the hell? This is like a whole new space. This is a whole new energy. I mean, and getting unlocked and coming into a new key and a new regal, beautiful key. So to get this spread right here is like a whole new rebirthing. You are cleared out and ready for brand new energy. If you're in a relationship and you worked it through and it worked out, this is it moving into a new direction. If you're single, this is new energy coming in that will rebirth you, that will take you to a new place. There is this this dragon on here too, the rebirthing, this kind of like fire, and there's this fire of the solar eclipse, like this burning out of things and returning back to, and it says elder in this, but it's like you've learned from your past and you are now being rebirthed into something where you have that old wisdom. The overall is the 4 of Cups upright. So like, don't sit there and be like, I don't know, I'm asking for things, but it's like, I don't know if I want to take it. It's like the universe is trying to show this amazing shit in your face. Don't start going into this place of like, well, I don't want it, or, oh, it doesn't like come the way I want it to. Like, let go of the weird emotions that have been keeping you locked away. Like, that's all this is saying, is like, the God is like, here you go. Here's the most amazing rebirth of your life. This is about not being afraid of love. Like, I think that Leos are kind of a weird space with love. Like, oh, I don't know. Like, don't be afraid of it. It is Jupiter and Sag. It just went direct and it ain't coming back for 12 years. And the South Node is going to meet with Jupiter in Capricorn, the 6th house for Leos, not the 5th. So you get this big revolution that's going to happen. You're not going to try and find love next year with South Node and, I'm talking to single Leos, next year with South Node and Jupiter in Capricorn. You know, and then the South Node will go in the 5th house. You don't want to find love during a 5th house transit. In solar especially. So this is definitely the time right now, because you want that, because you have a lot on your plate in your life and you want to have good love that's supporting you and you support them and having fun and happiness. We got the 2nd house. Cancer again. I cannot believe this Cancer thing keeps pulling up. Pluto. So this is changing the way that you create and manifest your emotional world, and changing and letting go of old ways of how you hold on to the way that you want to feel. This is a revolution in how you feel. This is a change of how you feel. This is new physical feelings shifting in how you feel in love. So this is a major revolution all over this week. This is like at the highest degrees, I'd say, with solar eclipse, with Pluto here, Cancer, second house, like changing the physical reality and how you emotionally will feel. And it's a major rebirthing, and you get the keys to unlock whatever door that you want to unlock. But God's showing you all this stuff. Don't turn down what's God showing you, because it is something that is rare, unique, and beautiful, and definitely be open to it as well. Have fun. I think part of that overall is like, don't start squabbling and being like, oh, I'm not going to have fun. Like, go have a good time right now. Go feel your life.
We can get a double party up in there. Yeah, it is that big shift. I mean, we were just talking about it right when we came on in here. There was a major shift. It was like almost a weight lifting off. It's like something was trying to pull us back in. It's like, boom, shedded that.
It's definitely a big shift going on right now. Woo! Especially just for everybody right now. But I think, yeah, anybody with a lot of Leo, like, they're feeling it. They're like, what the fuck is this? Like, whoa, this is finally all here? Whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, it's starting to feel good. I mean, that was definitely a roller coaster.
It was a roller coaster. I mean, yeah, and you know, this week Mars does come to the 28th degree. That cuts off the eclipse of August 21st of 2017, and that was the last of the North Node eclipses that was started on August 21st of 17. So guess what? Leos are coming out of a 2-year, or Leo risings and Leo moon energies are coming out of a 2-year crazy cycle. And this is a true rebirthing week in many ways. Astrologically, it was interesting to see. It always comes up in the tarot. The astrology always trumps the tarot. I just want to tell people that, okay? Like, the astrology is what's always right. The tarot is just a reaffirming and gives you different kind of perspectives, or just a re-understanding of it all as well, too. I had someone trying to pull me back in. What do you think about that, Craig, when someone tries to pull you back in? Capricorn, by the way, is next.
I mean, it kind of falls into the line of like what the situation was. You know, if it was just kind of a misconnection, timing wasn't right at that exact moment, then yeah, I mean, it's good to rehash that situation. But say that person has completely treated you like shit, probably shouldn't go and rehash it. Was it fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me?
I think it's something like that. I think you're right. If you get the keys to, you know, I always look at the key maker in the Matrix movies.
That was Cap, right? We got next?
Yeah, Capricorn. But, you know, like in the Matrix movies, there's a key maker, and that's the only way to get to the one door that they're able to get through to get to the architect of the Matrix, so Neo can talk to the architect to make his actual only free will choice of what is he going to choose, love or, you know, like basically like Aquarius, like save all the people. He chooses love for the first time out of his 6 times. On his 7th time, which is ironic because in numerology, 7 is the spiritual number and the life path number of spirituality. So I think, you know, there's a lot of spiritual clues in the Matrix. If you haven't watched the Matrix yet, like, I don't know what planet you're on if you're watching a show like this, but pretty much the Matrix describes the whole entire spiritual universe completely. You don't take maybe the computer element. It could be though, but take the computer element of like a spiritual element of what's going on, and it'll blow your mind. And Keymaker. All right.
Keymaker.
Keymaker.
We got keys here.
We got some keys.
Anybody need some keys?
We got some Capricorn ready.
Keys.
There it is. All right, Capricorns, y'all ready? Y'all ready for this? Da-da-da. Capricorn got the meditate card. So there's a lot of processing going on. And you know what? There's a lot of stress that you don't need to have this week in relationships. This is a time for you in love to just chill and just allow things to be, find a calm space. If you're in a relationship and it's going weird right now, you need to process what's going on because you need to untangle yourself. There's something about being untangled. So there's some relationship issues. We got to throw that one up because this is telling you to kind of, the only way out of quicksand is to kind of stop for a second. You know, I said last week, all over my horoscopes, deep astrology, after dark, everything, and every video I did, like it was redline last week. So now we're at redline, past. So now, you know, in Capricorn's world, I think, you know, partnered Capricorns or single ones, like there's some weird entanglements going on right now. And I think that, you know what, you need to find your way out. You need to slip out of anything that's entangled. Doesn't mean that you have to get out, but you can't make a decision if you're feeling choked. And I think that, you know, when it says meditate, this is maybe not so much of the meditation. I think that's important so you can process and get the real downloads of what's going on. But I think it's like the meditation on what the hell, why did it get this way? Why is it all weird and entangled? Some of these weird like love situations, and taking a higher look and being like, I need to like stay still here and see what the hell goes on. The challenge card that we got is the Aries you are. It's like you are not putting yourself first. You're putting the other person, or you're putting you're putting the other person first. Your challenge is you're not putting yourself first, which has entangled yourself into some really weird relationship situations. And if you're single, there is this part where it's like there is some sort of courage issue, or there is some sort of thing about having the willpower to move forward. And you, in order to go forward, you've been doing some weird things that have entangled you into some weird situations that have caused, you know, some weird aspects. You know, this is definitely, I think, for Capricorns going, you know, this is who I am. How did I get into this weird thing? This is really what I want now, but I have this going on. What the heck is going on? So you're going to have to put yourself forward again, put yourself first, and that's not an ego thing. This is remembering the cornerstone of who you are. I was talking about this with Will Nichols today on my Instagram Live. It's a great interview we did on my Instagram Live. But like, you know, that third eye, it's Aries, it's the head, you know, I was saying. Like, use your third eye right now to get a better peripheral view on your life of who you are. If you were defining your life right now through some relationship fully and not yourself first, and basing every choice in your life of where the relationship's going, that's entanglement in a crazy way. You did get fertility, and this is an interesting card to get. This is where you can start to create something great and beautiful in your life once you put yourself first. I will say, I don't know why, there is something that my guide said right away from this. You do not want to bring entanglement and definition and fertilize that of the identification outside of yourself and an entanglement. You do not want to fertilize that. That will grow into an alien baby. So, this is definitely where you have to be very aware that your energy is fertile as hell, literally for the women and the men out there. Men are fertile with their sperm. But this is also saying, like, what are you creating? And are you creating abundance of who you are that don't have these weird entanglements? Because that brings the bountiful world that you would never even define yourself through somebody all the way. Your overall that you got, the 9 of Wands reversed. This is definitely that you have been guarding way too much of this. You've been in a very stressed out spot. You've been holding on way too tight. It's time to let go and stop guarding and protecting something that you are misidentifying and really deeply entangled in. This is where you just have to let the guard down. You're guarding something that is not worth maybe guarding anymore. And that could be deep in with yourself and how you're doing with the relationships. But I also feel, because I do this as a love show and a relationship show, there's definitely some Capricorn situations going on of guarding like what you are not. It's not who you are. And it's like you are trying to guard something that you are not. And that can turn out really weird and bad. I'm sorry that this reading came out this way. Let's see some positivity here. You got Capricorn Mars in the 5th. Oh, wow. You got to be a Capricorn. And instead of like trying to hold on, Capricorn moves forward into what is going to be the trail of achievement of love. And you have to look at what trail, and Mars is exalted in Capricorn, remember that. So you have to be a little bit more intense, defining what you want of your own happiness and putting that as your ultimate goal is your own happiness first and love of that happiness first. 5th house starts with the self-love first, not the love itself. This is an entanglement of defining what love is. It's like lost in love instead of love of self. And I think after the red zone period, this is just like a weird places for Capricorns, especially now that Mercury's out of Cancer. It's now all in the 8th house, and this is endings and change and gnarliness about, intensifying situations. This is a very intense week. We will pull one extra card for Capricorns because this is definitely not normal. I always pull out Ganesha to help if it gets a little bit crazy on here, and this show can get crazy, and this stuff can get crazy for some signs. I just will be honest with you. So I'm just being real. It's like this is about finding relationships that really are more of like who you are and allowing it in. Maybe you're not allowing it in with the defense there. Like, get your guard down for energy that's more like you, and stop entangling yourself with energy that's not you, and don't get fertilized by some crazy energy that is definitely not you. Fertilize with what is. Ganesha, what does Ganesha have to say? Harmony at the end of the day. If it's not harmonious and you're not finding the harmony and the bliss with harmony becomes bliss and love and beauty and grace and the amazing feelings of just serenity. And serendipity. And this is a moment for you to find harmony by getting out of these weird entanglements. And this is whenever I get this card to meditate, it's like, what the hell are you doing? Like, you are in some weird entanglements right now. And even if you're single, maybe the people you're dating, like, there's some weird stuff there. I'd say that's a bomb drop.
People gotta depend on themselves. What it comes down to. You gotta know yourself, get back into your own thought process.
I think when people try to guard something that's not good for them, then it's putting their energy so far off them, and it showed that in the cards, that you end up in a really weird place, because the next thing you know, it's like you're not yourself anymore. You're like there's nothing worse than being in a relationship that takes you so far away from yourself that you don't even know what to do anymore with yourself. You don't even know how to act, and then you get trapped, and then you feel trapped. And in this place, it's like there's a lot of weird situations like that. I mean, I always use examples of celebrities, but like look at what Tiger Woods did. He obviously was in a trapped energy, and he then got entangled into some really weird stuff, because eventually Capricorns, when love is Taurus, if the value starts to, they're working too hard or it's not working, the Capricorns will try. I don't know Tiger Woods, but I guarantee you he actually tried. I want to give the guy some sort of like credit here. I bet you he did. I don't think he was just like a guy who just out of nowhere just started buying hookers and cheating on his wife. Like, I think he probably was trying so hard, but he wasn't maybe identifying enough with himself, or maybe he lost himself. Maybe his identity wasn't meant for her. And instead of just doing a clean break, he kept trying and then tried to do something crazy and then fertilized some crazy energy that really hurt his career, hurt his family, hurt a lot of people, and ruined his kind of name that he was kind of like an icon.
A lot of it happened after his father passed away, so that could have been a tipping point where he was almost on the verge of like you're talking about, stuck in a loveless relationship. Who knows if it was, who knows if it wasn't, but definitely, that could have been a tipping point where it just pushed him over the edge and he just couldn't take it anymore.
You bring up a good point, but I think that's also where there's that strength of Aries. Like, if you're going through a bad situation, a loss, or let's say you lose your job or something, like if you're not in yourself, like he probably wasn't, and you get a gnarly situation, guess what? Now it's going to take you even, weirder far, because you're not in yourself. Like, you're just, and if it's like now everything's toppling on top of yourself, and like, I don't have my strength because I'm entangled in that, and now I'm having to entangle in this emotional world, and then it just kind of, and then that's what fertilizes your life in this crazy direction. And you're like, what the heck? How did I end up here?
So again, communication. Don't just keep walking down the road if it's not the right one. Get out of it. Speak
and I
what's
think
on your
communication
mind.
is just part, like, I think it's mainly like just, this is who I am, and I'm sorry. Mars, Capricorn, 5th house. This is where my happiness, and this is my lane, and I'm going. And it's, Capricorns have to do that for love. That's why they have Taurus as their 5th house. Like, they have to own the value. If it is not at the highest value, it is not love. Goodbye, because then they can't achieve what they want in their life, so.
All right, what are we looking at?
Cancerians.
We do have a
Cancer question?
a Cancer question.
Well, give me the question while you're putting up the Cancer thing. And I will lean back here for a second.
So I'm going to modify it just a little bit. But, so this is from a Cancer woman. And she doesn't say how long she's been married for. But her husband is a staunch Christian, which
Okay.
she was as well for up until 3 years ago. She had a significant awakening and a shift in her life. Her husband still believes that astrology is a complete fake, tarot is evil. Besides that, you know, she deeply loves him, and he seems like a great man, but she's having trouble getting over that because now she feels like there's a deep disconnection with them spiritually.
Well,
So she wants to know what she can do about that, pretty much.
well, yeah.
Because that's the only issue.
I
That's
think
the only
it's
issue.
interesting.
And hold on, she's
Oh.
they're attracted to each other still, but she hasn't been able to have sex with him because she feels like that passion is completely gone and that energetic connection is completely gone now that her beliefs and where shit's taken her, he's not down with. So
That's a gnarly one right
Yeah,
there,
it's heavy.
because a lot of it was just said in the tarot. One, they're not on the same identification anymore, right? So whether you look at that spiritually, whether you look at that as the viewpoints of belief systems to, you know, the kind of life you should live or health aspects or eating, like there's ways for things to work together. I know plenty of people that have different spiritual beliefs and they get along, especially as a Capricorn. It's like Jupiter and Sag is the 12th house of your spiritual belief. And that's an important aspect to be able to achieve where you want to go, because Sagittarius comes before Capricorn. Like if the belief is not there, then you will not achieve where you want to go. If you don't believe, like if we didn't believe we could build high vibe and have it be successful, if we had zero belief, then it will not be successful. Like you could have passion, but without belief, and if the beliefs are off, that's going to be after something that, one, you're going to have to look at deeply. Two, if there's especially a sexual disconnection, which for Capricorns is pretty intense because it's bringing up love and sex. Believe it or not, Capricorns define their love through their sexual connection. Like they might not admit it because they're Capricorns, but their 8th house is Leo. So they need love and sex to mix together or they're not involved. Like they will not, like, you know, that's what like does it. And they will feel like they're dying if they don't have that. So, you know, what I want to say one thing, especially because this brings up kind of a more general consensus of going around in the spiritual community and the Christian communities is, you know, in the spiritual community, it's a little bit more wide open as far as being open to people's ideals and coexisting. Whereas, you know, sometimes it doesn't, and I know a lot of Christians that are coexisting, but there is kind of some forms that get really straight, just only biblical, like that's it, just hard line, what was written is all it is. And that basically, and in a nutshell, and it might trigger people, is a cult. Because the whole part of it is like if anybody leaves the cult of what the Bible says or anything, then they are castrated, you're the demonic, you're the devil, and then it's like doing everything in your path to try and bring them back in, you know? And that's something that it's like, if that's what you want to keep experiencing, like, and then of course, then that person will probably call me the devil for saying that, but that's truth, you know, like there's something about, and I'm a big believer, and I did Age of Deception about it. It's a 5-hour video for free on YouTube. I went through all the biblical aspects and found out when it was written and how they changed it and when the first pope became the head of Rome and all that stuff and when the whole entire story of the Bible. And long story short is this is written by men. This is not words truly from Jesus fully. Like it is like, of course they say channeled, but then they want to describe themselves as going against channeling. So it's the biggest hypocrisy of all time, that we're all doing the same thing. And I think that, you know, there's a hard line with this right now. Are you trying to defend and hold something that you are not? Are you in an entangled mess? I mean, it literally said it. And it's like, is that what you're going to keep fertilizing in your life? Because that's all you're going to get. There comes a point to where the collective reading said that death card, that change that has to come. And I think that with all this 8th house energy and this new moon going to be in the 8th and the 2nd for Capricorns, like, it's time to reassess the value of, are you nourishing yourself and receiving, or are you having but getting nothing out of it? Like, you know, like, I don't know. I have a bunch of old stuff that I don't even use anymore. It's just sitting in collection. You know, like, I don't know why I have my camera from like 2003 at raves that the battery doesn't even recharge. I don't even know why I have that camera still. It's like a sentimental thing, but am I using it? Do I really love it? I mean, sure, I love it. And I don't think that this is a question about love, but I think that it is a question about that love is not just relationships. Love and relationships are separate. Sex, love, relationships are separate. Astrology teaches you that there are all these different conscious realms. And to mix them all together is hard. But for Capricorns, without the spiritual belief being on the wrong set, then the goals are never going to go in the direction that they want. All right, Cancers.
So I hope that helped. Good luck out there.
Yeah, I hope that one helped. All right, Cancer, you got the relief card this week. So I feel like Cancers are kind of like, I'm just over whatever's been going on with relationships or letting go of some sort of relationship, and are ready. And I think that this is a week where it's like, oh, I'm seeing relief. I'm seeing relief this week from just allowing things to be as they are, whether that's been some weird turmoil in relationships. Cancers also tend to be very presentation oriented about their relationships because they have Capricorn as a relationship house. So it's like they present that it's all good when really it could be an emotional wreck, and only when they're sitting watching The Bachelor, eating cookies with all their friends on the big wide couch that they bring out the truth. But it's like there's a lot of relief coming. And that's relief is by allowing to accept what is going on in your relationship situations, and by relieving yourself of that, now you can see where things are going to go. The challenge that you got is the fire element, desire. So you're not feeling any fire. And I think that issue has been because you haven't been in situations that were really that desiring anyway. And so the challenge is here is maybe if you relieve yourself of the pressure of trying too hard to bring passion and fire to something that is not there, then you can actually be in such relief that you can start to allow to see where desire is again, or find desire in a relationship that you're in or not, but there's some desire that has been lost. And this is about the challenge of, well, where do I find it? And part of it is, are you going to allow desire in if you're single? Are you going to allow, if you've just gotten a breakup, are you going to allow desire to come in? You've relieved yourself, allow it in. If you're in a position where you're just not feeling the desire in the relationship, maybe you need to let go of something that has been causing your issue of what's been causing some sort of friction, and see if that works. And if that doesn't work, now you got to go deeper and see, maybe there's something more than just that. But you got to start relieving a lot of old energy, and you have ultimate success when you find desire again. So this card is all about the success of the relationship going the way that you want to and things going in the right direction, but you have to be in a position to allow that to happen by, where's the desire, and am I really there? And relieving yourself of the stress of realizing if it's not there. Like, there's stress with Cancers if they realize there's no desire, or what happens is, oh my gosh, I'm out of something. I had desire, but it wasn't good for me. So where do I find this new desire now? Let me just go backwards. No, you go to the success of finding new desires. Like, don't be afraid to move into figuring out, relieve yourself of any of the weirdness and go into where desire is at. The fire element. Where's the fire? And you got the Page of Pentacles. I did pull it reversed though. So it's interesting that there is this aspect of letting go of the idea of what will work, that there is no way to maybe solve some of the answers that you've been trying to solve, that it's not going to just show up. This is like you having to actually go, you know what? There's no desire here. There's nothing coming for that. I have to keep going and relieving the energy till I get to a point to where it's like, is there some sort of salvation here? But there is no quick fix. There is nothing that's just going to jump out of the sky, or if you're expecting them to change or they're promising change. Usually a page in reverse is a page that does not deliver the message that you want to hear, or doesn't deliver at all. It's a missing postage stamp, or a missing postage that doesn't show up in the mail. And when a page doesn't show up in the Pentacles of trying to figure things out in the physical realm, or in the value realm, or in the material realm, or it's showing up physically, especially in the challenge position of the desire and element, you've got to pay attention to that. And there is no new something coming in. So that's kind of a hard line, I know it might sound like, but There's a little bit of truth to that. And I don't know why I pulled another card, but I got Ace of Swords reversed, which is like, yeah, there is no answers. Ace of Swords is saying that until you relieve yourself of these kind of mental aspects of trying to figure it out so much and start from a new position of a fresh new slate with your mind, you'll have success. Your astro dice is Uranus and Cancer. Man, Cancer has popped up so much in the 7th house. This is about finding extremely radically new emotional relationship situations or trying something so radically different emotionally and getting out of your comfort zones in relationships, because I think that Cancers are way too comfortable in the way that they found desire, but it's been lost and maybe it's not the right energy. This is about trying to find higher vibrational emotional connections in relationships and to experience that, even looking at new people or new situations. If you're single and if you're in a relationship, this also might be trying different emotions in the relationship. But if you've tried all that you tried and there's nothing there, this is kind of a really weird, disconnection of emotion in the relationship to see what happens if you do pull out. What happens? A little bit of a risk there.
You got to weigh out that risk versus reward. I mean, that's a really tough situation, that question that was asked. So I think you handled that good, but it is, I don't know, finding maybe like an appreciation for each other, if you can get through that. I mean, it doesn't sound like she has an issue with it, which most spiritual people don't, but.
Yeah. We got the good old fishies next, Pisces. Pisces in the house. They're not last today. They've always been showing up kind of late. Late in the scene. I'm looking at the chat. What is everyone saying here? Oh, my Cancer with a Cancer symbol. That's funny. So lower expectations? I don't know about lowering expectations. I would say like relieving yourself of those lower expectations. And
never
don't go
lower
back
your expectations.
There's no such thing as lower expectations.
It's a horrible idea.
Ever. When the idea of that. So, of course, if you're expecting, something grand and it's in a situation that I don't know, let's just take a situation of that's a hard one, because maybe there's sometimes in life you should lower your expectations, but I think the idea of this is lowering your expectations of greatness in a relationship of love and connection and desire.
You got to be aware of what the situation is.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily lowering it, but it's if you're expecting to go to McDonald's and get the best cheeseburger in your life, you shouldn't be expecting that. So I think it comes down to that too. Maybe people just have this grand idea of what a situation should be.
Well, maybe it's the
In
state
reality,
too.
it's down here.
Maybe it's the state that Big Mac is being made, because I'll be honest, here in California, they just slap shit together and go thank you. When I'm in Ohio or Midwest, there's a manager who's at the fast food restaurant, here it is. Would you like this with this? And they're talking to everybody, and it's ran like a real restaurant a little bit. You're whoa. Out here in California, there's nothing like that. It's just literally you're here left to do, or especially New York. You go to New York, you order a McDonald's, it's just here you go. Can I get some ketchup? Nah, man. What? It's just okay. So I think you're right on that one, especially the food too. Pisces. Here we go, Pisces. All right, Pisces got Divinity card. I love this card. This is a great card. This is definitely a week of divine energy coming into relationships, love, happiness. So I think that for Pisces, this is definitely a feeling of alignment and aligning things in the right direction. And maybe you are coming in this week feeling everything's aligned. There's going to also feel a lot of synchronicities this week. Oh my gosh, you're this or that's that. So if you're single, find those if you're going on a date or if you're talking to somebody new or you're looking for somebody. Where are those feelings where it kind of feels divine? Where does it feel like there are some sort of signs and some sort of synchronicities? You did get the Moon Soul card as the challenge card. So I think it's the challenge is the emotions. It's sure, there might be signs, but are you blocking yourself from feeling the soul of another person fully? Or are you denying yourself of how you really feel, even though you might feel like it's divine? So there is divine aspects. I meet people all the time. We have the same energy. Oh my gosh, this is great. But it's maybe their soul doesn't want to connect on a friendship level, or maybe their soul doesn't want to connect on a love level, or maybe you aren't ready for that. This challenge is going to come up where it's like, well, I see these signs, but they're not showing up, or I see these signs, but I'm not sure if I'm ready yet. This is going to be a challenge of like where emotions sit, and if you see it, call out the emotion. If it's yours, then be willing to say, I have some emotional issues, and be free and be a Pisces and be vulnerable. If it's the other side, be vulnerable enough to be like, hey, I want to feel your emotion. What's the situation here? I thought I saw a lot of signs. So at least you know, so you don't trip yourself out and become a Pisces and start tripping out over the whole situation. That's relationship issues.
Just a little bit of trouble.
Just a little bit.
Just a tad on the troubled side.
Just a little tad.
Come on now, Pisces.
We got ambition as the next card. So, you know what? To reach your ambitions in life, you got to be aligned with your soul emotional self, and the signs are there. It will connect, but the connecting or the disconnecting space is the emotional aspect. Maybe you're not really feeling what was once divine, and it's not your ambition anymore. You got to make sure that your ambition and your emotions meet in order for the divinity to work out. Everything is divine in the universe. That's the funny thing. It's divine meeting anybody on the street, even if you meet somebody on a street corner. Doesn't mean that it's going to be the lover of your life. So I think that this is like where your emotions really at. Maybe you feel like you're in a relationship. It's divine. It makes sense. We have kids, but you have no emotion there. And the ambition isn't there to even really go farther than that. Well, you need to get to the challenge of the emotional aspect. You did get the Queen of Swords right upright on top of that emotional thing. That means that you are living from this state of, well, I'm just getting here with my mind. This is what I have to do. This is logistically the best thing for me in my life to do, which is causing you to not feel. There's a numbing energy going on with Pisces energy right now, I would say, when it comes to the ambition of reaching the ultimate feelings of a divine place that feels amazing in love, but there is a mind and a logical play that has been going on that is messing things up. This is logical, I should say, in this because of that, but you're missing something, and your ambition might be lacking too. It don't matter too. It don't matter if you're like having a baby literally and if you're not feeling the right way. Oh, I got to stay for this or whatever. It's like, if it's not, I mean, this is soul work, and I'm going against one of the guys I admire, Jordan Peterson. He's like, well, yeah, you have to stay in it or whatever. It's like, well, really? It's like, like I was through a divorced family and it went pretty good for me. So it's not all the same, but you got to follow your Pisces intuition fully on this one. We did get Capricorn moon, tough emotions in the second house. Is it really worthy of your ambitions and where you're going in your life? Is this emotionally worth your time? Whether you're single or you're in a relationship, is time just clicking and now you're not feeling worthy, or maybe you're feeling like you're getting old and you're missing out? That's moon and Capricorn in the second. Like, it's like you need to get that ambition going and start to have the emotions and the feelings that you want to have in your life instead of just watching that ticker go. It's like watching 60 Minutes on repeat. I would go insane. I love 60 Minutes, but for 60 minutes, that's it. I don't want to watch the same story again and the whole like, hey, today we interview a man who da-da-da-da-da. And nobody's laughing except myself.
The good thing is the world is always evolving. So.
Scorp. You didn't even put Scorpio. You put just Scorp.
Ain't no part of that Scorpio party, baby. We actually got a Scorpio question.
Oh, I will take the les questions.
So we got 2 Scorpio questions. I'm going to apply one of them, though, at the end for all the signs.
Yeah, please. I'm all ears. I'm all stingers. Stinger is out.
Yes, the stinger is out.
The stinger's out.
This Scorpio. So, she's having a little bit of issues here. She's been in a relationship for 5 years. And her partner has not been showing up in the sexual department for 3.5 of those 5 years. She wants to know if we can come up with any reasons as to why he doesn't want it, as she puts it. What makes a man feel like he could not desire his woman? 3.5 years is too long without a physical side of the relationships. I
Tough
agree with
questions
you.
today.
I agree with you. That is way too long. Way too long.
No, I'm ready. I got this one. One. Hey, Scorpio, welcome to Uranus and Taurus now, where you have to, that Taurus is your opposite sign in your relationship house. Quality, 1, 2, Uranus is here. It's going to show you where quality is. It's going to show you where connection is on the best level. Scorpios are about attracting energy. The sign that rules attracting is Scorpio. So one, maybe, and I'm not putting any, I don't know who you are. I'm just saying, like, a true Scorpio knows how to attract what they want. So if you've already tried the lingerie, Scorpio rules lingerie, you know, if you've already tried, you know, this stuff of attracting, maybe go back to the old ways of what he was attracted to. Maybe he doesn't like that. Maybe he likes, you know, when you come home from the gym instead of like all showered up. Some people like it like that, you know, pheromones are different in different ways. But if it's like you've tried everything, I think as a Scorpio, you already know there's maybe something else going on. I have a feeling there's something else going on. I don't know why. I'm going to be very honest. I feel like this guy's already
I think everybody in
is everybody saying that? Because I was just going to say, like, I feel like this
might not be you,
out there
Scorpio.
fucking...
It might just be that he prefers a different shade of blue, you know.
Or I was going to say,
know.
he could even, I don't know why, and I'm going to get real Scorpio, but maybe he, like, I don't know, maybe he's like a porn addict or something. Or he could be going out to the strip club.
He's not the Scorpio. She's the Scorpio.
No, I know that. I'm saying, though, like,
she
he might be.
Intimidating him a little bit.
That's a very big mental health issue right now in sex and relationship stuff, because he gets his rocker off with his little, like, you know, what is it called? The fleshlight, like, in the bathroom?
Yeah, could be.
And then maybe he's just like,
know.
I'm tired, I'm working, I don't
know anything about that.
You know, or maybe, you know, and I'm just going to be dropping some like truth bombs like with Uranus and Taurus, because it's about like, you know, with Taurus it teaches you quality, and Uranus here kind of is going to teach you relationships. Like if there's no quality, if there's no value, if he's not valuing you, guess what? Leave. Like it's clear, Scorpio is black and white. There is no in between. So it's been 5 years, but 3.5 years. Now you're starting to play in the gray area, and Scorpio is not a Scorpio in the gray. Scorpios are not gray. They are black and white. And it's like, that is it. That's it. And this is where, and I don't know why, my intuition is saying, I don't want to say it, like, you know, but it's like, there's something else that he's putting that energy to that you're not receiving. And if you're doing everything you can to try and attract it in that long, and as a Scorpio, especially...
You need to pack your bags. You need to get the hell out of there.
Yeah, I mean...
Enough is enough.
I think that a lot of this would have happened in May when when the sun came into Gemini with Mercury. We had that Sun-Mercury conjunction point at 0. And then... we had Mars go through Gemini this year already. Like Gemini is the sex house for Scorpios, of like wanting something stimulating and different and all that. And if there's no stimulation there, like you're not getting it, that's been clear for a while, then you know what? There's an issue. There's somebody else. Final answer.
All right.
Even if it's maybe those new robotic sex dolls for $5,000 or whatever that.
Yeah, I mean, that could be cheaper than being in a real relationship.
I don't know. Or maybe you need to, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt here. I don't want to sound like I'm a fucking asshole. Maybe you haven't created the emotional aspect of asking him. We don't know if you have to, as a Scorpio, you need to ask. Have you asked for sex? Like, I would like sex, please. Like, I know it's not the natural way to do it, but the last call of the 8th house is we ask for a loan. That's why 8th house is financial institutions of receiving money. You ask for an investment. Can I have an investment, please? Can I have this? Can I have that? Like, Taurus is where we build on our own. You're a Scorpio. If you haven't asked him why not, and he hasn't given you an answer, then there's some sort of not truth there. But if he's giving you an answer, maybe he's got ED or something, then go get him some Viagra, you know what I mean? Or get on the whatever it is. What's the other one?
I mean, Scorpios can be definitely intense, especially when it comes in the sexual department, so she could be overpowering a little bit. Exactly, if you're saying he does have ED, something like that. Definitely could be a self-esteem issue, so just be kind to the man. Seduce him a little bit. Seduce him in a loving way. Be gentle, Scorpio.
I don't know the guy, so I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I was just playing all those different aspects. But I definitely feel like there's some other place it's going. Okay. Scorpios. Release. I'm sorry. I sound horrible. This is a week of like cutting out something that is just not fully showing up. You have to cut the leg off when the green shows up. That's what they did during Neptune in Pisces. Remember, there was no, and I know it was more in the Civil War, but they had to do that back in the day. Like if you got a disease on your foot, they cut off your foot. I don't know what I would put relationship issues up with a release, because I'm gonna get
That could be releasing though past issues too, right? Entanglement in past love, releasing that. I'm gonna swing it for us Scorpios.
There's definitely release. But I was gonna say with this release, and there was another part that I wanted to add, which is like maybe there's some sort of feeling or emotion that you need to release that you're having that's not conducive to positivity in the relationship. So it's like maybe you're obsessed with some sort of feeling and it's just not good for you and it's causing destruction in the relationship. Like you got to cut it out. Or if you're single and it's in yourself, but there's definitely something romantically speaking that's causing something that needs to be released. Maybe there's tension over something. Maybe there's, I love this card because this one always brings up that like untalked about tension that's in the air that has to be released. And so you have to dagger it out. Like you got to like go in like and go. I was watching Two-Face last night or Face Off last night. I don't know why I was watching that movie with Nicolas Cage and John Travolta where they switch each other's faces, and when John Travolta goes and becomes Nicolas Cage and Nicolas Cage is the bad guy and becomes John Travolta, he gives the daughter a switchblade, and then at the end of the movie when he holds her hostage she remembers and jabs it right into his leg and he's like twisted so it doesn't close the wound. Like there is something kind of about that energy of like what is it that needs to be fully put into that gets rid of it completely. And the challenge is the Gemini card, I think, which is the sexual card, believe it or not, for all Scorpios. The Gemini house is sex. So I believe that the issue is that maybe you're releasing like some sort of frustrations over no connection, or you're not feeling that the connection is fully there. Or you're feeling that, especially as a Scorpio, if the sex ain't there or they're not showing you sex, like, what's the deal? Or maybe they're not even being sexual. Like, let's say they're on, like, I don't know, they're staying at their mom's for a week or something. And it's like, like they're not even sending any weird energy or they're not flirting or like, I can't wait to be with you.
Sometimes we just got to see a little bit of skin.
Yeah, or it's like maybe, well, no dick pics or anything like that. But
I didn't say that.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, like flirting. Like seduction starts with flirting. Some people, I know flirting's more fifth house, which is love. Like, oh, you're so cute. But once you're in a relationship, it's like, oh, I can't wait to have you come here and fucking, we have that one thing. And
how do you feel about the word seduction or seducing? Because I was actually having a conversation with Miss Sarah Posh.
I love the word. I hate the word manipulation.
Yeah, that's completely different than seduction or seducing someone.
No, because you can manipulate somebody through seduction.
Well, yeah, you can. So yeah, I guess my point is that seduction always doesn't need to have the bad connotation. Like you can seduce someone out of love.
Yeah, I think that negative seduction is manipulation.
Yes, I concur.
But I think seduction is the way that a fucking, I mean, how do animals mate? Like, girls throw their tail up and start doing the whole wee, 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 and that's how the male goes, okay. Or, we don't need to get into animal sex, but yeah, so. Yeah. Clarity, I moved a lot of cards.
That's for a different show.
Clarity, well, there's something weird going on with Scorpios this week. A bunch of cards just fell, and I will put them all out here. Clarity is coming this week
Great.
when you actually get to the bottom of communication. One is a challenge of Gemini, I think, and releasing what is that needs to be talked about. And clarity will come this week if you talk about it, and it's definitely dealing with some sort of connection issue. The cards that pulled out is, one, that you don't think that you're feeling like there's a solid foundation in relationships this week. Two, that you feel like it's going way too slow. Three, that you feel like it's the same pattern over and over again and you don't know how to release it. And four, it's because that you're too afraid to kind of see what else would be out there in a different direction if you were to go through all those situations and bring them up. The fear of taking a boat to a universal direction that you don't have control over, but could be taking you to the best place. So, wow, that's a lot.
I like that little bonus right there, though.
Yeah, Scorpio's got bonuses. That Cancer again. I can't. This is like, I don't even know how many. And with the North Node in Cancer in the 12th house. Wow. Okay, so this one is saying that you need to focus on what is the subconscious issues emotionally that are not being dealt with, that have been hidden. This is a lot of hidden subconscious emotions that are coming out this week. It is going to pop out like a fucking... Good luck.
Well, hopefully all you Scorpios have been doing that internal work. I know that I have had to do a lot of it over this last few months. Definitely started at the end of last year. So I think all in all, when it comes to everybody too, like if you've been doing the work, you don't necessarily need to be afraid. It's like going to pop up and you're going to have those bad feelings again, but it's like you're almost at a realization of to like where you are and where you need to be.
Wow.
So that's all I got to say about that.
Good luck. We got Geminis next. How funny. Gemini came up a lot with that Scorpio reading.
We actually have a Gemini question as well.
Oh, do we? We got a. I'll be the twins.
We do. Alrighty.
What is that Gemini question as I get back in my 2019
The Gemini question
puff
of the
on
day.
my electric vape pipe?
You're quite
of
progressive,
tobacco that's not
to
tobacco.
say the least. It's another relationship question. Fitting.
Okay.
She's trying to make a 13-year relationship work, or should she step out on her own and see what comes? There is true love in this relationship I'm in. Understanding, support, stability, but no passion whatsoever. She doesn't know what to do. The confusion is just exhausting. And so she knows, does she need to step out, or should she continue this for another 8 to 10 year cycle that she's about to go through?
It's a really good question. Since the North Node is in Cancer, this is definitely something that if it's of true value to her, I would try to use Jupiter to figure out the way to understand how to save it. Because as Geminis do have Jupiter and Sag right now of expanding in relationships, if she's in a current relationship and she finds value there but no passion with the South Node in the 8th house, it's like, okay, is just your radical Gemini just trying to find some sort of like stimulation and then realize that all the other things that you want in a relationship aren't there. But one thing is, if the passion's not there, you need to go to like, are you being valued truly? If you are not being valued, or you are being used as kind of like a piece of meat, or you were looked at as like some sort of pawn in their life, that's where that's not being valued. And of course you like the stability and you like all those things, but that's not really a stable place. It's the fear of truly finding your own power within yourself. So this isn't about really relationships as much as it is about the understanding of the value of yourself and the power of yourself and whether or not you even feel comfortable. Because right there, already feeling like that South Node in the 8th house energy of like, well, stability I can get, yeah, and that's important to find right now, but it's more the stability within yourself. If you're relying on the relationship for stability, well, then you don't have the power of the second house that the transits were just about. So, and guess what? 8 years from now, with that cycle she's talking about, that'll be a South Node in that place. So it'll be like, okay, needing to know how to use that energy that you learn now to receive the real energies in life that you want. But I'm all about always, if it's a North Node second house transit that's going on, it's definitely about seeing what's of value if you really value it, but you need to kind of look at where is that value, and are you valuing it because you're afraid of what it's like to be on your own to create? So it's like you're actually staying and there's no passion because you're not into it, because you're getting the second house thing, which is one of the lessons of value and security and stability. But is that stability based upon that somebody and his insurance plan if he dies, or if, you know, he pays the bills and all this stuff? Like finding your own ability to create your own life, maybe that will change your passion. Maybe you'll start to be more passionate with your lover. Maybe they'll be more passionate if you can find that on your own. So maybe take some time to work on that, but there's like not a lot of time. Like this has been kind of red zone. So I think that the weird transit is Neptune. Neptune in your 10th house is squaring a lot of the Gemini, and it's squaring Jupiter, the ruler of relationships. So there's a lot of confusion in relationships with Geminis, especially about like, what path are you on? Are you on the same spiritual path? That's a big question. So if you're not on the same spiritual path, then definitely there's going to be some issues there. And then I think the biggest one is Uranus is now retrograde in Taurus, where it's going to stay in Taurus and come direct for the first time in over, 80, it's about 70, like 5 years or whatever it is. So 76 years. So since the 1930s. So you know what? Guess what? You're dealing with subconscious stuff now that has been not dealt with, and stuff that's holding you back. And this can be a long transit of Uranus in the 12th house, where it's like, unless you start to get rid of what you hold on to that's not of a spiritual, cleansing, pure place of your own independent understanding of how to be free to be a Gemini, to express yourself the way that you need to be expressed. This Capricorn is your 8th house of sex and desire. And guess what? You are using control to receive stability instead of desire. But there can be both based upon if you're being valued and where your own values are of what you can create.
And again, if you have any questions, you can email deeplovetarot@gmail.com.
All right, let's see what Gemini's got. Well, this might give her the answer right here. Fire! Uh-oh. Needing some fire up in here. So there's definitely some energy that is kicking about needing to find passion and fire. And this is like, the fire element. But you got it in the first card. So there's definitely a lot of like intense energy coming this week in relationship, needing to find desire and fire in a big way, needing to find that passion in life. But, let's see what that challenge is to that. It is the 3rd house of messages. Believe it or not, it's stimulation of the mind and fire and passion. That's what turns on a Gemini anyways, is what they say to them, not so much about what they do. So I think a lot of this is like, are you just feeling bored out of your mind? I think that this is definitely also communication aspects, where it's like, are you even enjoying sitting and talking next to this person? You might have stability, but it's like, are you just watching TV and zoning out, or you're on your phone and you go to bed and kind of go good night, and there's no stimulating conversation, there's no excitement? Guess what? That is a huge indication that this is a no-go. But if there is, but also spiritually evolving wise, maybe are you communicating? Are you trying? But if you're trying, maybe the challenge is that they're not. Maybe you need to have a talk with them about that and see if they give them a chance this week to change. If not, you pretty much know. And that's some relationship issues for sure. Like,
There has been a common theme today.
yeah, lots of Cancer.
Lots of Cancer,
dice.
lots of issue.
And lots of issues. Leos didn't get it though. And luck comes from communicating and having stimulation of fire. So Geminis do know. I mean, I wouldn't base desire off sexual desire. I'd base it off the spark of life that makes you feel stimulated and excited about life and constantly turning. A Gemini is constantly turning. When a Gemini's wheels stop turning, they lose their energy, and they actually lose their energy of life force itself. And you have good luck by actually starting to communicate and and finding energy that's stimulating enough for you, or that actually is being honest. Maybe you have like a weird fired up, angry energy when you don't feel like anybody's honest, but it's like, are you actually communicating? Are you looking at the facts correctly? There's a lot of challenges here with the way that you're interpreting things, but it's like, maybe there's a part where it's like, this is where you have good luck when you actually communicate and you actually look at all the facts and you put them all on the table and you put your passion into that. It will work out the way it's supposed to, or it'll work out in the best way possible the other direction. So, and the issue with that is a Hierophant, that you're in the same cycle, that you are too bound to speaking a certain way, or you don't want to, maybe, you've become habitual in the way that you have found your stimulation, and maybe you need to find a new way of stimulation in the relationship, or try to relate differently, or try to find some sort of new passion of how to connect in communication. Maybe talk about a new subject, try something different, but there's some sort of like restriction. And you know what? This also brings up spiritual messaging. Like, this is like, are you guys coming from the same mental understanding of spirit and God and traditions of that? These are spiritual traditions of the Hierophant. It's the Pope. But, it is a card that also deals with kind of like where you kind of get caught up in kind of habitual cycles. And I think this habitual cycle is like the same way that you keep trying to stab at and find the fire of stimulation, but it's like, maybe it's due to some sort of weird tradition, or, like you're afraid to try something new. I don't, there's a lot of weird elements there, We got Aquarius Sun, 9th house. Well, definitely it's about searching other universes and seeing other people and other expressions of what's out there. So, overall, I would say this is definitely about seeing other points of view, other belief systems that are more different, radical. But this is also being allowed to, even this is good, I think, for sometimes, like therapy. Maybe therapy is something if you're in a relationship, if you're new though, or you're dating somebody and it's like your spiritual views and your views of life are similar, but really not. Like, we can get kind of caught up in the 9th house. Like, well, yeah, I like toys, you like toys, but really your main thing is, I don't know, for a living, you love doing psychology, and for a living, they love to do video games. It's like, okay, like.
What was the planet that they got?
The sun.
They got the sun.
Becoming aware of what worlds, 9th house, that you're going to in Aquarius are outer worlds that are way different. Like, is this too different of a world? Are you in two different worlds completely that don't make sense? Or is this totally going to weird worlds together that's stimulating enough where it's exciting? Do they mix well? Do they really flow well? If they do, then they do. If they don't, then they don't. We got Sagittarius. I'm thirsty. Every now and then, I'm like, man.
You want me to get you some water?
I don't know. I think I'll make it through. I think we have.
You gonna live?
We have.
We
like
can't have you passing out live.
Huh?
We can't have you passing out. We gotta keep you hydrated.
Let's see what is going on for the Sages. Transmutation. This card is a snake. This is a massive shedding of the skin. Whether this relationship or if you're single, it's changing the way that you go about relationships. But there's definitely a lot of, whenever there's snake activity, it's pretty intense. Maybe you're dealing with a snake. Maybe you're attached to a snake. Maybe you are learning to change the way that you go about this relationship, or the relationship is going through a true change that is really dramatic and very intense. I got to get a little bit more clear on this with Saturn of Truth. So the truth is coming out this week, and are you going to be able to transmute that truth and accept it and shed it and move through it? Or if not, it's definitely coming to a hardline truth point, especially since Saturn's in your second house of trying to hold on to something too hard. So this is definitely trying to change something that you have that might not be changing. So it's like trying to turn, if I was trying to turn this right now with a knife and something else, I'm trying to change this to not be a knight anymore, but be a Barbie doll. Like, because I don't want to lose this, but I want it to change. But it's like, why don't I just Go get a Barbie doll. You know what I mean? Like, there's a little bit of this trying to turn something against what it actually naturally in its form is. And we know how the world works, the earth works, and humans do that. And whenever we try and do something and change something that's not natural, it definitely gets a little funky and weird. Hence my vape. This shit is weird. We got the solitude card. We're definitely throwing the spiritual, I don't know what, I mean, I would say it's definitely relationship issues. I know it's a recurring pattern today, but oh man.
Well, at least we're all screwed together. So there's that.
Yeah, I think looking at the collective energy, right? Like, this is about using this to go into some amazing positive places. I just think that Sagittarius are dealing with some truths of over connecting to things that are not of value and they're not changing. And you're trying to change something, and what it's doing is it's putting you alone. Because then actually if it changes, it's not going to be the original form of what it is. So then you change it to something, and then guess what? Now it's actually farther away from what it was. You changed it to what you thought it was, but now it turned into something different. And now that's also with the snake too. Like, there is like this, you know, are you trying to change something that you have into something different? It's like whenever I look at somebody who has like a car, like behind us and at our warehouse here at the studios at highvibe.tv, the warehouse next to us used to chop cars. We used to not be able to record in the mornings here because they used to put convertibles on any car, on anything. People would roll up here with Teslas and they would chop the whole Tesla top off and put a convertible on it. Or they would take old, what were some of the cars there? It was crazy. I saw...
They left before I could get my Ranger chopped.
I know, yeah. Craig wanted to get his Ford Ranger with a convertible. But, you know, there's just some things that you just have that, you know, if you change it, it's going to be weird forever. And then it loses its value. That's the whole lesson of Saturn teaching Sagittarius about value in Capricorn. And I think that there's like, you think it's cool, sure, but if you try to resell that car, it's not worth that much, believe it or not, because you've cut into the frame, you've cut it out, it could leak, it's done custom. When people try to change things in their natural state too much, like plastic surgery, you can do some changes here or there, but when people go way over the board, then it's like, what? Now you're not even like, what happened? Like, of course, like, I'm not somebody to advocate against plastic surgery. It's part of life. But when it becomes like, what was that show that one person who had like 120 different like surgeries, and it's like, you don't even look like,
I think it was called the Kardashians, right?
Yeah, I think that Sag is going through a little bit of trying to overly reconstruct something instead of just realizing that it won't change. And you got the Judgment card, so this is definitely that the God is calling you to rise up and understand the truth of the situation in your relationships this week, of why they're not maybe going the way that you want to. There's something about being too hard line, especially with Saturn there, of like, this is how it has to be in a relationship. This is how they want to be. Come into my world. I'm not going to go into theirs, or it has to be valued my way, or they have to have my same understanding or my same judgment. Because judgment too is like, they need to be on my same religion, or they need to be on my same this, or they need to, there's a lot of that, and trying to change people into what you want isn't working. You got Aries, Saturn in the 12th. This is where your idea of what you want that you are trying to achieve in the 12th house might be a dream, but is it too delusional? Is it really of the high conscious realms? Are you willing to let go of the idea of the identification of how you want this relationship to be in order to see the truth of what it is? Or if you're dating people, are you willing to let go of your only idea of how people should be and how they should act, and be more forgiving and be more understanding and allow something great to come in for how it really is, and be willing to stop hardlining the way that you want it to be? That's pretty intense.
Lots going on today.
Yeah, I don't know. Leo squeaked out good.
Yeah. good just to keep draining all that information out
I'm
there
just
into the
kind of
universe,
resetting
though.
this deck here. You know, I was like, all to 4 decks. I was like, okay.
We haven't been
all
clearing the
right,
vibes today, actually.
all right. We've got...
We've been missing the mojo.
Aquarius. We got Aquas in the house. Thanks, Pops, for being there for the season 2 and this weekend. And couldn't have won the season without you. My dad's January 29th, double Aqua, Sun and Moon. Libra rising with Jupiter on the ascendant. He's Jupiter ascending, just like the movie. Jupe ascending. Who's got Jupe ascending in here? Anybody has Jupiter on the ascendant? I'm just sitting here.
Where's your
vape till I see that.
Where's your Jupe at, Mr. Palmer?
My Jupe is at 5 degrees of Capricorn, retrograde.
Fun
In
fact.
the 5th house of
Fun
love.
fact for the day.
In the 5th house of love. All right. Let's go. Aquas. We got karmic path. This is a big week of something very karmic coming into your life. It almost feels like you feel fated or know this energy. If you're in a relationship, it feels like it's coming to some sort of karmic path shift in your life where it's like everything's kind of built up this week to where there's a big decision being made in the relationship to change in direction. If you're in a new one, this could definitely be like, this feels extremely karmic. It feels like it's on this kind of really intense spiritual path. This is pretty intense. So this is definitely not negative. I think that this is positive. I think that this is like, whoa, this is very fated energy coming in and the path in which that, you know, it feels like it's truly aligned. It's interesting, Saturn's there, so it's the Lord of Karma. So there's a lot of this karmic energy. And for you, Saturn being in your 12th house, that's very karmic times right now in relationships, especially all these planets are in your relationship house right now, mainly a lot of them. And we got the 6th house of routine. So the challenge is, are you gonna get out of your routines in order to allow this karmic pact to happen? It's almost like maybe you have too much control of how your life is. You like your life to be this certain way, but maybe this karmic path is asking you to go into a new life, a new reality, a new routine, a new different way. And I think that this is where it can be a little bit difficult, but I think that if it's a karmic path and it's going really well, yeah, maybe it's going to a place, into a reality and a new routine that's going to better your life or be in a different space. You know, Aquarians do like change, but the truth is they are a fixed sign. So especially the 6th house for them is Cancer. They feel comfortable in their own routine and they like to be able to bug out and have an emergency exit whenever they want. And so it's like weird for them to go into a new routine because it's like, I don't know where the emergency exit is yet. It's like, okay, relax, just get into the plane or get into the new energy or get into the new routine or get into the new reality. If there's a great karmic path coming, you'll find there's always an emergency exit somewhere every time. Like, chill out and you'll find that in the routine instantly. It's like going to your first day of work. It's like, where's the bathroom? Where's this? It's like, you'll figure it out, and then after day 2, guess what? Like, oh, I can get out here, and then Aquarians become cool. But Aquarians become very comfortable in their own way of doing things, and this karmic path could be blocked by continuing to do things in your own way. Also, 6th house has to deal with your health. You know, it has to deal with the body. It has to do with any of this stuff. So it could be like there's some weird aspects or some challenges around kind of your health or your routine or the way that your body works or even your body itself. Like, it's like, just trust the karmic routine of, how funny, the karmic path of, you changing what this is going to be. And you got patience, which is be patient with yourself. I think that this is a week where it's like, be patient with this routine thing. This is a karmic path that is coming into your life very intensely, and it's going to change your life. And be patient with the way that it works. You know, it's interesting that this patience has a dragon with it. It's kind of like, it will change your life, but it's like, you might feel like by the end of this week where it's like, this is so intense, I'm ready for my life to change, or I'm not ready for my life to change. And it's like, you got to be like patient in either way. It's like, you're going to have to find a way to either understand this new life, or you're impatient and you're like, I'm ready for this new life now, but it's like, oh, you might need to take care of something, or it might take time for this karmic path to go. There might be something that comes up that just causes you to kind of be like, hey, okay, this is a big change. This is a big karmic path here, shift. Like, just let it go as it's going to go, and it will all work out fine. Your big thing about the routine is there you are. You got the King of Swords, that you have it all figured out in the direction that you have your life, and this is going to come in and kind of blow in a whole new direction for you. And so I think that this is about starting to realize that maybe you are not king of your life anymore the way that you thought you were in your mind. That this is telling you that, you know what? The challenge truly here is to get rid of this routine that is causing actually the life that is not the way that you want to. It's by changing it and letting go of all the ideas and how that you want it to, and doing the same thing over and over again. And especially that if we do the astrology, I mean, with Saturn in your 12th, it's about learning to go to new spiritual places, new spiritual adventures, and get out of kind of this old kind of same energy that you constantly are in. Aquarians got the moon in the 7th house in Capricorn. So this is definitely about a relationship, emotional situation coming up this week that is going to change the trajectory of your life, your goals, your even your work, where you might work. Maybe there's conflicts about work. Maybe there's conflicts about that through the karmic path of your routine. But the main thing here is this is an emotional relationship situation that is like, is this really the destiny and the karma that I want to go down? And you have to make a big decision about that this week. It's going to feel very emotionally karmic, very emotionally connected to which path you're going into your life based upon what's going on in relationships this week for you and love.
We're just moving along.
Yes, we are, because it's 8:30. Taurus! Taurus has been coming up first a lot. Now they're coming up almost last, you know? So that's kind of gnarly, you know what I mean? You know?
Everybody's favorite Taurus isn't here today in the chat room.
Is Abby Moneyhunt in there?
Miss Abby Munhan is on a vacation with, I think, with her sons, at least one of them. If you haven't taken a vacation lately, you should go out and you should take a vacation, because time off is needed for everybody. And it's very, very easy just to get caught up on that hamster wheel, so to speak. We miss out on a lot. We miss out on a lot of experiences that are like right in front of us. Even just taking like day trips, going for a drive somewhere new, a weekend trip, long walks with your dog or something.
Long walks with the dog.
The dogs need to see a little sunlight too.
Do you got the Taurus ready?
I do.
Taurus is ready. All right. We got a major shift happening in Tauruses. Maybe because you haven't made the shift yet. You know what I mean? Like, there's something about Tauruses being so stubborn. I remember Tauruses who got the shift card a lot, but now it's at the front position. So it's like, okay, Taurus, time to shift your love life here. And it's going to be directed in the communicating element. Maybe this is where the block is. Maybe your mind is communicating to yourself of thoughts like, well, I'm not ready for the shift, or this can't change my life. Or you're not communicating to the energy that you want to shift your life. Or two, you're not putting yourself out there that anybody knows and can see and understand that you're ready for a shift. If you're in a relationship, there's definitely a lot of communication situations going on that are going to cause some major shifts in your life, but I don't know if they're negative or positive yet. It looks like innocence to get you back to your true form, and look at Venus pops up and Taurus on this card. So this is about getting you to your true innocent, true self again by communicating what you want. And the challenge is communication. Like, go back to that old Taurus self that was confident and knew what it wanted and was ready to shift things and change things. But it's like there's been so many things not shifting in relationships for Tauruses because of the way that they communicate, or just in a relationship, maybe if you're partnered, maybe it's just like the communication just doesn't make sense. Like, it's like trying to relate and it doesn't communicate there because the innocence is truly not there of who you are. It's like pulling you away from who you really are. If it's pulling you away from who you are, get the fuck out. If you're in a situation and somebody's trying to pull you in a situation that doesn't feel like you, get the hell out. But if it's totally the same energy, the same communication, and it will shift your life, accept it. You got the Five of Wands reversed. You're afraid of conflict. You're afraid of conflicting your energies. You almost like being independent with Uranus retrograde now, especially in your sign. You almost like maybe the way that everything's been connected, but it's like, wait a second here. It's like there is some great shift trying to happen in your life, but maybe you're too afraid because of the conflicts it'll cause by you making that shift and being who you really are and actually doing what is necessary to do what you must do. We got Taurus in the 5th house with Mars. Go for your heart's happiness, but do it with only what makes you feel like you and the best ever. Mars is in detriment in Taurus, so it's really slow going. I knew I felt this. I knew this was going to come up. But if it's love, get that momentum. It might be a little slow, but don't stop. That's the issue with Tauruses. They may like kind of pull out and then not talk to you for 2 weeks or whatever. It's like Scorpio. It's like they're either all in or all out. It's like if you need to go all in, and if there's momentum, keep the momentum going. So that freight train goes into that love. But if you just start going chugga chugga chugga, oh wait. And then just kind of sit there and wait for, a phone call 4 weeks later, and then go, oh, we were on a phone call, and then no phone call. We'll see each other in 2 weeks. Okay? You got to keep that, and then, bam! Then Tauruses get into great relationships. Yahtzee!
Don't lose that passion, Taurus.
And the last one, the irony of this all, the last one is the first sign of the zodiac, Aries.
Ooh, welcome to the Thunderdome.
Welcome to the last zodiac sign of the week. This week it's Aries, which is ironic because all these planets are in their love house right now. And this full moon's in their love and friendship houses.
Just shake it.
Just shake it.
Shake it.
Just shake it. Just shake it and break it. Shake it and break it. Last sign here. I'm just waiting. Oh, there it is. All right. I got that momentum going from that Taurus. I'm going to show Tauruses how to do it. All right, Aries, let's go. No, I'm just kidding. Boom, growth. I'm sorry. I don't know why I found that just so funny. It's like, all right, let's go. And then it's like, wait, you're putting me into just growth? Fuck this shit. Oh, there's a lot of growth going on in relationships right now. Like getting out of being a little kid, and especially, I know this is little kid time for Aries about having fun, but it's also about knowing that if you're in a relationship, you also have to be growing as well as a child to do something great. So like being a grown-up and a kid, you can do both. But just being a kid, if you're a grown-up and not growing, and every kid is in a place of growth. Remember that. Even Leos, I got to grow too. So, this is definitely, if you're single, like where are you not growing in yourself to have relationships at all? Like where is the growth stunted? Like where are you not trying to evolve? Like, this is definitely about evolution in relationships. A full moon in Aquarius, definitely about evolution. You got void of course moon. There's something missing in your relationships. That's relationship troubles, growth. Now, I don't want to scare Aries or something because this isn't to be too scary, I don't think. All it means is that I think the challenges of growth is you've reached a place in the relationship where you don't know where it's going to go next. A void of course moon, there's something missing and it's a challenge because you don't know where it's growing next. A, you're either too afraid to take it to the next level, like a marriage. B, you're dating somebody and you don't know if you should go to a relationship or not. C, there's something missing and you don't know where it's going, and are you afraid to grow up and just say, I'm sorry, I'm not going to see you anymore? Like, or if you're completely single and nothing's going on, it's like there's something missing, yeah, because you haven't grown up and actually tried to put yourself out there yet. So there's definitely a lot of just like, what's the next step? What's the next step? There's something missing, what's the next step? A lot of it has to do with contemplation. That you have been in a place where you've been contemplating something for way too long that you continue to keep doing, and this is like saying, at the end of the day, you're going to need to make some sort of thing. We're going to have to pull another card for this contemplation because we've got sustenance. You know, if the relationship has sustenance, like it has some sort of great value, some really beautiful energy, you know, then what do you, okay, you know that. So what are the things that are missing? Where is it evolving that's not evolving right now? That's what you need to focus on. Then you don't need to contemplate on the greatness of whether it's good or not. You can be focused on what is not growing and just focus in that direction. But if the relationship has no sustenance, well, then the whole thing is pretty much scrap. And you did get the 7 of Wands reversed. So you are in a weird space, definitely, because you were at one time all high and mighty with the high position. And now right now in the relationship, it just feels like you have no energy left. You feel like maybe you've been attacked, or maybe, you know, this card just feels like you're on the lower end of the stick. And that you do have to grow and evolve forward. So if you're ready to go through some major growth this week in relationship, Aries, and stay in there, I commend you, and it's a good thing. But if it doesn't have sustenance anymore and it's lost that, or you don't know where it's going to go next, this is definitely a contemplative time of like, what is sustenance to you, and where is growth, and what is lacking in your own growth of yourself or in the relationship itself. We did get Mars in Virgo in the 7th house. So interesting, because it's about really having to, Mars in the 7th house, go into your relationship and start to figure things out. Start to look at the rearrangement, start to clean house, start to change things, start to put it in a better direction. Start to clean out things and put a better routine in place. Or more importantly, are you showing up for the routine with this growth? Are you willing to define the reality you want the relationship to be? It's evolving, Virgo. It's evolving to always constantly be moving into a better position of harvesting the relationship to a new place. Of course, finding a great rhythm is great, but rhythms last their cycles of the season, and then they change. Maybe you've been on the same rhythm for too long and now it's boring. That's why Virgo gets that boring element sometimes, when it's just the mundane of just being like a machine worker all day. And not saying that that's bad. Some people might love that, but that whole idea of just being a machine, just like, it's like, is this relationship just feel like a machine? Does this date that I keep going on just like, it just is not passionate? It's not like this. It's like, there's a lot of big questions there for Aries this week. I want to thank you all so much for being here. You have any last words, Craig?
Yeah, we actually did have one more question that I kind of wanted to direct for the whole collective.
All right, sure, bring it on.
It was from a fellow Scorpio, so I had to couldn't leave him out. But it's just what should all of us single people do to best engage this week with Jupiter going direct and Venus trying when it comes to love?
All of us what people?
Well, it was a Scorpio, but he said all of us single Scorpios, so I'm directing for everybody. For all the single ladies and the single men out there, what can we do to best engage during this time?
The best way to engage as a single anybody right now, Jupiter direct in Sagittarius, is experience, experience, experience. You don't know nothing until you've gone through the experience. So do not block yourself from an experience that shows up your way. Period. And what I'll do to finish this off is I am going to say my goodbyes. Make sure you check out highvibe.tv. I do an awesome special right now about relationships, what all this Venus energy is, manifesting money and projects for this next 6 weeks period with Sun, Venus, Juno, Sun, Juno, Mars, Venus, Sun, Mars, new moon, trine Uranus, full moon in Aquarius, opposed Sun, Venus. There is so much, so potent times right now, just in the next 2 weeks alone. Definitely don't miss it. It's only $10. We put it on a special rate. We're just going to keep it there. Check it out right now. It is amazing. The Passion of Venus. It's a pretty awesome video. It's 1 hour and 22 minutes long. I'm going to pull one card from the Ganesha deck about everybody in all relationships, single or not, and we got beginnings. New beginnings. Process that one. Peace out. See you next week.